everybody, and welcome to another speed build. So today I am doing some pre-recording and stuff, so I don't want to tell you any stories, like anything that's kind of happened to me during the week or whatever, because, I don't know, I just want to be able to tell some stories that are like appropriate no matter when I tell them to you. So if I'm like, oh yeah, yesterday I posted this on Twitter and then this happened, well, it's not relevant, right? So, yeah, I've decided that I'm just going to try and think of some stories that are not, like, time relevant, I guess you could say. So anyway, I decided that, I'll talk about the build for a little bit. Probably a little bit more than usual. And then I think I might just, like, talk about maybe some of my Sims experiences, or I don't know, like, talk about Sims a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just going to let the words come to me. So anyway, as I said, I am going to talk about the build a little bit. So the first thing I wanted to say is that I actually built a family for this house. So I built the family and then I built the house. And you can see the family, like, standing out the front of the house. And, you can also... Hey, that's really weird. Why is the plumb bob moving? That's strange, because they wouldn't, like, have their little plumb bob in build mode, and that thing is, like, turning. That's really weird. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so I created the family standing at the front, and then I built the house. So usually when I build homes, like, I have a family in mind, and this time I was like, you know what, I'm actually just going to build this family I have in mind. And I thought it was pretty cool. Like, it was cool being able to, like, build a house and imagine, like, not even have to imagine, like, know the Sims that are going to be in the house. So they are called the Freemans, and the parents are both kind of, like, you know, family orientated, you know, very, like, loving parents. And then the eldest daughter is very just, like, kind of typical teenager, I guess. Just, I can't 100% remember her traits, but I know she has, like, a musical one. So she's kind of sort of, like, semi-popular, I guess. Like, you know, she's really enjoys spending time with her friends, but she also absolutely loves music. So when we get to her bedroom, it's very kind of, like, Pinteresty, I guess. But there's also a piano in this house because that is where she sits and does her musical stuff. Then the younger girl, and you know, I can't even remember their names, but the younger one is extremely smart. She is a total bookworm and really into, like, science, and she's, like, got the nerd brain aspiration and stuff like that. So that is a family for this house. And then I really like the title of this house, Rockin Red. It's, like, the most creative thing I've ever come up with. And as you can see, the house is kind of red. So I wanted to do something like a red house, and I don't know. I actually have to admit that I don't really like the way that the exterior turned out, but I left it that way because I thought that someone would like it, or I hope that someone likes it. It's just, like, not me and not what I'm super, like, into, but as I said, I wanted to leave it there because I feel like I always do what I am kind of, you know, like, what I really like, and, yeah, I don't know, I just thought, let's do something a bit different, let's do red and green. Actually, it was supposed to just be red, and then it went to, like, red and green. So, yeah, I was kind of like, alright, we'll just flow with it. We'll go with it. It'll be fine. So, that is the exterior there. So, as I said, I'm going to be talking a little bit about, like, maybe just some Sim stuff. So, I'm going to kind of, like, slip some little stories in with talking about the build. Just because, you know, at the moment I've spoken about the outside and we're still doing it. So, let's tell a bit of a story. So, I remember when I very first started playing The Sims, I started playing Sims 1, and I don't know if I've told this story or not before, but I first found out about Sims, like, from my dad. I was like, oh, you know, like, when you're younger and you kind of, you play, like, life simulation games kind of thing, like, you play, you know, like, mums and dads, or doctors, or, you know, like, babies, and I don't know what I used to play, like mums and dads or something like that, and you know, like, you'd have this whole thing, and you'd get, like, you know, like, those, like, fake little kitchen things, like those plastic ones. So, you know, I said to my dad, I was like, I just wish that I could actually create a family and play with them. And he's like, oh, well, you can. Haven't you ever heard of The Sims? And I was like, do tell. So he told me about this game, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then coincidentally, a friend that lived actually next door to my grandma, she had The Sims, and her computer wasn't very good. And I see, like, looking back now, she was totally just using me for my computer. But my computer was, like, better than hers. So she would come over to my house and be like, let's play Sims. And she would bring over her Sims games and play the Sims, and I'd honestly just watch her play. Like, I'd get to create, like, a character and maybe build, like, a bedroom or something, and then she would just, like, take over and do the whole game, and I'd just, like, sit there mesmerized, like, ooh, this game's awesome. And then her mum got her a new computer and she never came over again. So when that happened, I was like, Dad, I really want to get Sims. And like, I don't remember how I actually ended up getting it, because I was quite young when The Sims first came out. Like, I think I was in year 6. So I don't know how I actually got the game. Maybe my parents just bought it for me. But I just remember that I ended up having the game and I could play it by myself. And I was, like, super excited to be able to play the game by myself. And I don't remember a lot about Sims 1 because it was so long ago, but I do remember this one time I had a friend over and we were building this hotel, and we called it the Boomerang Hotel. I remember that. And it honestly took us like 3 hours to build this hotel. And we didn't save the game for some reason, and there was a blackout and we lost the entire build. And I've just, like, never forgotten that. And that's, like, probably, like, still the worst thing that ever happened to me in The Sims. Actually, no, there's one other thing that happened that I think was worse than that. But still, like, traumatic. And this was honestly, like, years ago. Years ago. Like, I haven't been in school for ages, and this would have been, like, grade 7 maybe. So I'm 23 now, so it was a long time ago. So I'm just going to take a quick break just to talk about what we're doing here. I wanted to do, like, very, like, light, kind of creamy, teal-y colours. I think that's teal. Like, that blue colour. It's gonna be awkward if it's not. And my, like, phone is updating, so I can't even check if it's teal. We're just gonna say it's teal. So, yeah. I really, 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 really love this, like, kitchen living area. I think it is gorge. That means gorgeous, you know, because I'm cool. I'm not. Yeah, so, yeah, I really, really like how that turned out, and, you'll see in a minute I put a piano in here, and I don't know, I like how, like, cluttered this was, but then at the same time, it was, like, neat looking. I don't know, I feel like this is, like, the perfect amount of clutter. I would probably use this build for a current household. I don't know which one. I don't know when, but this is one of the builds that I really liked the interior of. As I said, I didn't really like the exterior of it. I'd probably change that if I were to use this for a build, for a family. But yeah, I really, really love this, like, living room area, and I love the colors. So anyway, back to some Sims stories. So I remember that next up I got The Sims 2, and it was such a big step up. And I remember I had a friend who was really into The Sims 2 as well. And she was one of my best friends. Like, at the time, she was my best friend in primary school. Actually, we must have been in high school by now. My timeline is really off because, okay, we must have been, oh, okay, hang on. I'm getting all my timeline confused. I must have been younger when The Sims 1 actually came out. It must have been, oh my god, you know what? I'm pretty sure I was, like, in year 2 when The Sims came out. Wow. Because I specifically remember when I was in year 6, my friend coming over, and we were, like, best friends at the time, and that's when The Sims 2 had just came out. And we were definitely in year 6, because I remember going to her house and buying Sims 2 on eBay. Yes, okay, so take everything back that I said about The Sims 1. All Sims 1 stuff happened, like, year 3 and 4. Maybe even year 2. Like, between year 2 and 4. Because, anyway, irrelevant. So, yeah, when I was in year 6, The Sims 2 came out. And, I had this friend who was, like, pretty into it as well. And she used to come over and like play it and stuff, and then she was like, oh, I really want to get the game for myself, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll help you, let's get it on eBay, it'll be heaps cheaper. And I remember ordering it on eBay and her like hugging me and being like, you are the best friend in the whole entire world. And I was kind of like sitting there like, dude, I just suggested that you buy Sims 2 on eBay, but okay. And then we used to just go to each other's house and play The Sims. And I remember a couple times she slept over, and I've always been a night owl, and I remember that my friends would sleep over and I'd always be like, let's stay up all night, and they'd be like, yeah, that's such a good idea, and then they'd always fall asleep at like 10 o'clock and I'd be like wide awake. So I remember when I had friends sleep over, if they fell asleep before I did, which was like always, I would then like wait for them to fall asleep, and then I'd sneak out of bed and then like sit at my computer desk and play The Sims. I remember so many times just waiting for them to fall asleep so I could like get up and play The Sims. And my friend like woke up once and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, you know, just playing The Sims. Because I think in The Sims 2 they had that Sims 2 stories, and I didn't really understand it, and I don't know, that's like a really random irrelevant point. But yeah, Sims 2 was amazing. I remember like putting so many hours into that, and I remember like totally screwing my game up once because I was playing around with like the testing cheats. I feel like testing cheats in Sims 2 was such a risk. Now you can kind of like fiddle around with the testing cheats and you don't kind of seem to be able to stuff the game up the way that you used to be able to. But yeah, I used to play with those testing cheats in Sims 2, and so many times I had to like reinstall the game because I'd just totally stuffed it up. But Sims 2 was like so many good memories. Sims 2 was amazing. So see what we're doing? This has totally happened by accident, but I'm like telling a story about Sims 1, talking about the build, then 2, talking about the build, and then I'll do 3 and 4. Okay, this is working really well. So let's talk about the dining room for a little bit. So, well, as you can see, I'm just placing some things on the, well, I'm about to place things on the wall. I'm like trying to make fun of myself here, and I'm like doing a bad job at that. Anyway, I actually really quite like the dining room. I'm loving using those little like cabinet things because they're like the perfect size, and you can make them like bigger and smaller. And I just feel like if you don't know what to put in the space, you just put those little cabinet thingies there and it works perfectly. And I also love that this dining room had a bar. A lot of the times like my dining rooms are too small to be able to fit a bar, but this one actually had a bar, and I thought that that was pretty dang nifty. I reckon it'd be really cool to have like a bar in your house. I don't even, like, I rarely drink. Yeah, like, I'm not the kind of person that would, like, sit down every Friday and have a glass of wine. I really only drink, like, on occasions when I'm going out. And I probably drink too much, so I make up for it. But let's not talk about this because this is not, like, family friendly. Anyway, let's move on to Sims 3. So, Sims 3. When The Sims 3 came out, I don't actually remember when The Sims 3 came out, to be honest, but what I do remember is crying, like legitimately crying to my mum because I could not wait for Sims 3 Pets to come out. Like, I literally could not wait, and just crying, being like, I want to go to sleep and wake up when Sims 3 Pets is out, and like having tears about it and throwing tantrums about it, and mum being like, what do you want me to do? It's not going to come out any quicker. You just have to wait, and being like, I don't want to wait. And like, I'd have to like, just like go to my room and cry into my pillow to calm myself down because I was like so excited about it. And I remember continuously watching like the videos, and anytime I went to the shop, I would go, this is like back in the day where you actually had discs to install things. None of this like digital download stuff. Like, you had to install everything by disc. And I would go to the local, like, actually where we get our games from here, it's called EB Games. I think it's Electronics Boutique Games, which makes no sense, but it's EB Games, and that's like, yeah, anyway. So I'd go into EB Games anytime I was at the shop and just like stare at the cover and just look at it, and then like look at the back of it, and I knew it back to front, but I could not go to the shop without going to EB Games and just looking at the cover. And there must have been like some videos, YouTube must have been a thing by then, so I don't know, but I do just remember like watching the promo trailer for it over and over and over and over again, and reading everything I could about pets. And I had like a whole family set up, and I knew what dog I was going to get and what I was going to name it and what traits it was going to have. And then when it finally came out, I was just so excited. And it's weird, like I'm not that excited about Sims 4 pets or cats and dogs. Like, don't get me wrong, I am so excited about it coming out. But I think that like now that I'm older, I just kind of like push it to the back of my mind, and I don't like, I'm not going to cry in my pillow because I can't have the Sims pets. Yeah, I just think it's like weird how as you get older you can kind of control your emotions a little bit better. And like, I'm so excited for cats and dogs, like so excited, but I'm only excited like when I think about it, because I just kind of don't allow myself to get too worked up about it, because I know that the more excited I am, the harder it's going to be to like wait for it to come. So I just kind of like don't think about it. Yeah, but Sims 3 was really good, and probably my worst memory ever from Sims 3 is having to uninstall and reinstall Sims 3, especially if you had a Macintosh computer, because there was this whole thing where you had to like I don't know what they called it, like a full like a clean uninstall maybe, and you had to like go in and like delete all these system files and stuff. And it would just take forever, and you'd always you'd have to install it, and then you'd have to update it, and then install the next one, and then update the next one, and you had to install it all in order. And then sometimes after you've reinstalled everything, you'd go into the game, so you've spent like 4 days just reinstalling, and then you'd go into the game, and yeah, it would just be like not working still, so you'd have to like do it all over again. So that was always very, very frustrating. But in saying that, I do still miss like having the discs to install things, because I feel like I don't have a great internet connection. I don't have a great one where I am, so it takes me like a good couple of days just to install The Sims 4 on Origin, and I just wish that I could just put the discs in and just kind of go. Like, I wish that you had the option of either installing via disc or installing via Origin. I think that that would be kind of like the perfect balance between the two, but I guess it is good now that you can just kind of like go into Origin and just press a button and it all does it. That's kind of, you know, kind of handy. What else about Sims 3? I don't know. I remember trying to play that World Adventures, and that game never worked on my computer. It was so buggy that it would always just crash, so I could never play that one. But I loved nightlife and playing like in Bridgeport and stuff, and Sims 3 is when I got like super duper into custom content. And I used a lot of alpha, because there really wasn't such a thing as Max's Match custom content in The Sims 3. Like, there were like 2 hairs. That was it. Because it was all about like alpha back then, and you used to go on this thing called The Sims, what was it? It was like The Sims Gallery. I don't know. It was some like online thing, and that's where you could download all the custom content, and the website was like super buggy and annoying. And there was also the Sims 3 store, where like you could go on there and buy extra content, and that was very like, a lot of people really hated that, but I quite liked it, because instead of having like stuff packs, you could just buy like 1 or 2 items that you wanted, but admittedly it was all really overpriced. But yeah, I don't know, in some ways I do kind of miss The Sims. No, I don't miss The Sims 3 store. It was a pain. Like, I like the concept, but I think their stuff packs are, I don't know. Look, I don't know, actually, I haven't really thought about that. So this is the bedroom that I mentioned was kind of like Pinteresty. Well, I think it's kind of Pinteresty, like the mason jar lights and the, I don't know, just all the jingly jangly kind of things. So this is like very, for me, like typical teenage bedroom, like a little bit messy, very cluttered, stuff everywhere, bit of this, bit of that. I was thinking like, you know, makeup desk and stuff. So that's what I mean, like I was going for a very musical but still like somewhat popular teenager. So I don't know, like if a bedroom can reflect that, but that's kind of like what I was thinking when I was furnishing the bedroom. And now that I'm saying that out loud, it's kind of weird, like, but I guess in some ways, like, your bedroom can reflect your personality. Like, if you walked into my bedroom, you're going to see like all my personalities. So I have like a big makeup table because I'm makeup addicted, and then I have like my computer desk because I'm like computer addicted, and then I have my nerd shelf with all my comic books and pop culture items because I'm like also a nerd. So I guess actually when you do think about it, like your bedroom is an indication of your personality. Well, sometimes anyway. So, that's that room. That's all I got to say. So let's move on to Sims 4. Now, I'm going to be totally honest here. I remember when Sims 4 came out and I was actually really disappointed. I hated it. And I was really excited for it to come out because I was really, really excited for the Create a Sim. And then when I played the game, I remember going in there and creating a sim and I was kind of like, oh. And I was like, I prefer Sims 3 Create a Sim. It's way better. And then going and building a house, and I was like, well, this is weird. I don't like it. And then I think I played the game for no joke like 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm already bored. And that was my first Sims 4 experience. Like, honestly, I hated the game, and then I never played it. And I don't think I played it for like a good 6 months to a year. But my problem was, because the graphics were so good in The Sims 4, I found it really hard to go back to Sims 3. So Sims 4 originally ruined Sims for me. And I probably didn't play Sims for like a year. Because it was like, I don't want to go back to Sims 3 because the graphics are so bad in comparison. But I don't want to play Sims 4 because it's just like, not great. Like, it was, when it first came out, I have to admit, that game was really, really boring. And, like, if you don't agree with that, that is totally fine. But in my opinion, when the game first came out, it sucked. It had nothing. There was nothing to do. It was just boring, flat, and bland. So, I didn't play for ages. And then, I don't know how I got back into playing The Sims 4 again. But I think I went back and I played The Sims 3 for a little bit. And then, oh, that's right. So, I played The Sims 3 for a bit. So I probably went off The Sims for like 6 months to a year, and then finally I'd kind of forgotten the Sims 4 graphics and went back and played Sims 3 for a little bit. And then I saw somewhere that there were some expansion packs that had come out for Sims 4, and I was like, oh, you know what, maybe I'll like buy them and just give the game another go. So I think that it was like Outdoor Retreat that I had seen had come out. That they'd had expansion packs. Like, I didn't start playing again when Outdoor Retreat came back out. I just noticed that there was this game pack. So I was like, yep, you know what, I'll give it a go. The game pack wasn't too expensive. And I started to kind of get really into it. But I still hated the Create a Sim, which is really weird because now I think that the Sims 4 build mode and Create a Sim are the best. They are awesome. It just took me a while to like come to that conclusion. But yeah, I got back into Sims 4, and then all of a sudden I loved it, and that's when I started watching YouTube videos as well. So I think it was a mixture that I realized that there was like a game pack that had come out, and then I was watching videos on the game pack, and then that kind of got me into like, oh, speed builds, oh, like this is a thing, YouTube for Sims is a thing. And then at the same time that I went down the whole playing Sims again rabbit hole, I also went down the whole like YouTube rabbit hole. And yeah, so that's actually kind of like my Sims 4 story. I think it's very dramatic. It's super interesting. I'm just kidding. I really hope this hasn't been super boring for you. But I do think that it's weird that now I like love The Sims 4, but I actually used to genuinely hate it. Like, I thought it was the worst game. I don't think I'd ever felt such disappointment playing The Sims 4. I was so disappointed. And I had this other friend who I didn't even know she was a simmer. And she, when you got the Sims 4, you got this like headband with a plumb bob on it. And she posted this picture of her with this giant smile on her face and this wearing the plumb bob headband. Like, I'm so excited, I can't wait to play the game, and all this like really, you know, hoo-ha. And I commented and I was like, hey girl, like I just got the game as well, been playing it for an hour, do you like it? And she's like, I hate it. And I was like, yeah, me too. And it was just like, we were both just devastated that we hated the game so much. Yeah, but it's definitely improved heaps since then. I still think, like, Sims 4 is still not, like, my ideal game. But, I mean, I don't know. If I could create a game, like, if I could create the Sims game, this is what I would do. This is, and as I said, I don't even know if this is possible, and I don't want to throw any shade at EA. I think that The Sims 4 is an absolutely amazing game, and I respect the fact that they wanted to make it so that more people could play, and I really do respect that. I think that's a really, it's just like, I don't know, such a good thing to do, because And yeah, as I said, I hated the game when it first came out, but now I absolutely love it. And I think that's obvious, like I'm not lying. I play this all the time. Like you see how many speed builds that I put up on my channel? I'm not lying. But yeah, if I could create like my ideal game, I would have the Sims 2 gameplay, right? But Sims 4 graphics. Sims 4 graphics, Sims 4 create a sim. Sims 4 build and buy mode with the Sims 2 gameplay, and then I would have, I actually don't miss the open world from Sims 3. I just kind of don't care for it. I don't know, like I don't dislike it, but it's not something that I'm like dying to have back. But I do wish that we had semi-open worlds. So you had like neighborhoods that were open. So like on the Sims 4 map, it's already kind of like divided into those neighborhoods. I just wish that everything in that neighborhood loaded so that you could go to someone's house without a loading screen. So yeah, that would be my ideal game. Sims 2 gameplay, Sims 4 create a sim and build mode, and then semi-open worlds. Honestly, like that would be it. Yeah, so that's kind of the end of the build, guys, and the end of my voiceover. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'd appreciate it if you know, I feel so stupid saying this. I say this all the time. Like and comment and subscribe and do all that stuff. And once again, I've spoken into the... Oh my god, they're really fast. Okay, I'm going to have to edit that. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!